What if every single thought you had could be notarized the very second you write it down? That's the big promise behind a tool called MindDock. It's like having your own personal digital notary.
You know, I think we've all been there, right? You get that amazing spark of an idea. Maybe it's for a new business, a groundbreaking research paper, a piece of art, whatever. But in that super fragile early stage, how do you actually prove you had it first? How do you protect that little moment of genius before it's really ready for the world?
And look, the gap between just an idea and protected intellectual property, it's a massive canyon. An idea is so vulnerable, right? It's fleeting and it's nearly impossible to prove when it was yours. But the second you can prove it, boom, that idea becomes a secure, verifiable asset. It's something you can actually stand behind and defend.
So how do we bridge that canyon? Well, the concept we're diving into today is this idea of a personal, automatic, digital notary.
And that right there is the core promise of MindDock. It's designed from the ground up to be that digital notary for every single thought you jot down. I mean, every note, every link you make, every tiny little edit, it gets its own official, verifiable seal. So how does it pull this off? Well, it's built on 4 core pillars. First up, you've got automatic proof, which is huge because you don't even have to think about it. Then there's end-to-end privacy, super important because your raw ideas should be for your eyes only, right? Third, a complete version history, which creates this unbreakable timeline of your work. And finally, knowledge network visualization, which is a cool way to see how all your ideas connect and evolve over time. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does MindDock actually seal your thoughts the instant you have them? Okay, so for you, the user, this whole process is pretty much invisible. You're just writing and linking your notes like you normally would. But behind the scenes, something really powerful is happening. Your note is instantly getting a cryptographic timestamp, a new version is saved, and your whole knowledge graph gets updated. And the best part? It all happens automatically. You don't lift a finger. And what this really means is that every single action, creating a note, updating it, linking it to something else, it all creates a permanent, unchangeable entry. It's almost like every keystroke is being witnessed and carved into a stone tablet that can never, ever be altered. And here's a peek under the hood at what that secure log actually looks like. You can see the action, right? Create, update, whatever you did. Then there's the timestamp, and look how precise that is, down to the millisecond. And then you have this thing called a hash. The easiest way to think of a hash is like a unique digital fingerprint for your notes content at that exact moment in time. If you change just one comma, the entire fingerprint changes. That's what makes this thing completely tamper-proof. Okay, this whole idea of an unbreakable record, that's the real game changer here. So let's dig into what makes this kind of proof so different from the tools you might already be using every day. And look, that's a totally fair question, right? I mean, lots of note-taking apps save versions of your work, so what's the big deal? Why is this any different? This little comparison chart really lays it all out. Think about it. A traditional notary is slow, it's expensive. Other apps, yeah, they might save versions, but you can't really prove when those versions were created in a way that would, hold up in a dispute. MindDock is designed to give you that automatic, cryptographic proof while keeping your ideas totally private. It's really the only one that checks all those boxes. Okay, so that's the theory, but let's see how this actually works in the real world for people whose entire careers are built on their ideas. All right, first up, let's imagine an inventor, someone who's working on a brand new piece of tech. For that person, being able to prove the exact date of conception, that's everything. And this is the payoff right here. Can you imagine being able to just export a secure, verifiable log that shows the entire evolution of your idea from day one? That is incredibly powerful evidence when you're filing a patent, or maybe even more importantly, defending it from a challenge. So their workflow is super straightforward. Step 1, they document the new idea in a note. Step 2, they start linking that note to all their research, their sketches, everything. Then, when it's time to file that patent, they just export the entire audit trail as proof. Simple as that. Okay, let's switch gears. Let's look at another field where originality and timing are absolutely critical: academic research. For any researcher, one of the biggest fears is a claim of plagiarism, right? Or having someone else publish really similar findings just before you do. A tool like this is basically designed to create a defensive shield around their entire research process. So their process might look something like this. They record their initial hypothesis and data. Then, as they run experiments, every little change, every new version, it's all tracked automatically. And here's the crucial part. They can share read-only versions of their notes with peers to collaborate, but they never lose that original, provable record of their own work. It's the best of both worlds. So when you boil it all down, what's the fundamental goal here? It's really simple. It's about putting an ironclad layer of protection around your most valuable creative output. Yeah, ultimately, it all comes back to this one powerful transformation. It's about taking your ideas out of that vulnerable, just in your head space and turning them into securely documented, totally provable assets. And so that leaves us with one final, pretty important question to ask ourselves. We all say that our ideas are our most valuable assets, right? So how are you actually protecting them? And maybe more importantly, is the system you're using now really up to the task?